So the topic which we are going to cover today is capital gains under Income Tax Act. Okay. Now, capital gains may arise when you sell your house, when you sell a piece of land, when you sell anything, jewelry, okay, or shares. Fine. So I'll be covering today the most important one, which is the house property. Okay. If you sell a property, for example, okay, then we'll talk about sale of shares also and sale of jewelry also. Okay. How it attracts a capital gains tax. Okay. So so now under the income tax head, under income tax, there are 5 heads under which you have to pay tax. Okay. The first is salaries. Now you're drawing salaries and you're paying taxes on that. Okay. And you must be aware of, the salary, laws and everything. So not going to cover, but I'll share my material with you if you want to refer. Income from house property. If you have a house and you give it on a sale or a rent, for example, and you're drawing a rent from there. Okay. So that is also chargeable under income from house property. Profit and gains from business and profession. If you're doing business, or you're doing your profession as a chartered accountant, lawyer, or something, so you have to pay tax, and that whatever money which you earn from your business, you have to pay tax. So briefly, I'll cover in the next class, because this will be of some importance to you. Okay. When you have a partnership firm, so what kind of tax benefit you get? Okay, so maybe you'll be starting a company or a partnership or a startup, so it will be quite helpful for you. Then we talk about capital gains. Today we are going to talk about capital gains and income from other sources like interest on bank deposits or dividends from shares. Okay, so that is tax under income from other sources. So the most important I'll cover in my last class. That is the next session. So today I'm going to cover, so I'll just skip the first 3 slides. I'll come back to them later. Now, okay. This is, I have put it on a Google Drive. You can go to the Google Drive, and from there are two, one PPT and one Excel sheet. If you can pull out that, it will be very good. Otherwise, you just watch, and then you can, take out later on and just see. Okay. So just focus on the slides, and I'll be sharing the video also. So then you can open up your Excel sheets and PPT, and if you have anything, you can just look at. So property of any kind held by an assessee, whether or not connected with his business or profession. So you have any property which is you're holding as a personal property, or you're holding as a business asset. Okay, so that is called the capital asset. So it's a definition of an asset by the income tax, held by an assessee. So we are all assessees because we have to pay taxes. Now, however, it does not include stock in trade. If you're doing business, okay, if you have stock with you, like you're doing a garment business and there are a lot of stock which you're having, so if you sell that, then it is charged under business income, not under capital gains. So stock in trade is not part of it. So these are exceptions. These are exclusions from capital asset. Then asset held for personal use. For example, excluding jewelry, drawings, and paintings. So any asset which you hold for personal use, like a car. If you sell a car, okay, it's a personal belonging. Fine. So, but it excludes jewelry, drawings, and paintings. If you sell them, then it will be a capital asset, and you have to pay tax on it. Okay. Then rural agriculture land. So if you have a land in a rural area, not in urban, so that is also not included in the definition of property, capital asset. Then some specified gold bonds. Okay, fine. So these are certain exclusions. Then we talk about short-term and long-term capital gain. Now, whenever you sell a property or anything, there are two kinds of, the whole has been categorized into two. One is short-term and long-term. So we must understand, and you have to pay tax accordingly. Normally, for long-term capital gain, there is a lower tax. For short-term capital gains, the tax is higher, or it falls under your slab rate, whatever slab you have. Okay, depending upon what kind of an asset it is. So we'll talk about that. A short-term capital asset means a capital asset held by an assessee for not more than 36 months immediately preceding the date of its transfer. Now, this is a general definition. Okay, so there are some exceptions to that. Some period comes to 1 year or 2 years also. So if you are holding an asset for less than 36 months and then you sell it, it's a short-term. Whatever income you're drawing, it's called short-term capital asset or a gain. A capital asset held by an assessee for more than 36 months immediately preceding the date of its transfer is a long-term capital gain, a long-term capital asset. So the word has been used transfer, not sale. because sale will be part of the transfer. So we'll see, understand what is the definition of transfer later on. Then exceptions. So what are the exceptions here? Shares. Okay. Shares, mutual funds. First, a share which is listed on the stock exchange. Not, yeah. Sir को वो दो microphone. ऐसे चलो ठीक है.
This previous slide, this long-term and short-term assets, the definition varies from subject to subject?
Asset to asset.
Asset to asset?
I'm covering that. So just hold on, it's answered, okay? So now I'm covering where, 36 months less than and more than doesn't cover. Now, if an asset is share, so it will not follow the definition which I have just shared with you, okay? So shares means a share which is listed on the stock exchange, not an unlisted share. I mean, some private company and you're a shareholder, so that will not be part of it. So only shares which are listed on the stock exchange. Then mutual funds, only mutual funds which are called equity oriented mutual funds, where 65% or more has been invested into equity. Okay, fine. So these are called mutual funds. Okay, equity oriented mutual funds, only equity, because there would be a debt oriented mutual funds also, where the money, most of the money has been put into bonds or debentures. Units of unit trust of India. Okay, so these are not covered under the definition which I just covered. Zero coupon bonds. You can buy bonds at say 95 and you may get 100 rupees after 1 year. So there are some zero coupon bonds which are issued either by government or by companies. So these are not part of it. Then will, however, be considered as a long-term capital gain. So this is very important. Singh sir, this is the you're looking for, Mr. Singh. So देखिए इसको last will, however, be considered as a long-term capital asset if the same is held for more than 12 months. So if you're holding these assets, which I have said, if you hold them more than 12 months, it will be called long-term, otherwise it will be called short-term. Okay, fine. So for these, 1 year, if you buy shares and sell them, okay, immediately, short-term. But if you sell after 1 year, then long-term. Okay, fine. हाँ अब नहीं है तो छोड़ देते हैं वो डेफिनेशन में आ रहा है होता नई डेफिनेशन में ना हो दिस इज द लेटेस्ट वन व्हिच आई पिक्ड अप ओके फाइन हाँ लॉन्ग टर्म शॉर्ट टर्म हाँ yeah so if you are selling say share just to I mean of course it will come later if you sell the shares within 1 year you have to pay 15% tax if you sell after this thing then 10% this is what you are saying okay so we'll cover that when we cover the mutual funds then I'll cover that okay fine. So exception. Further, an immovable property being land or building or both would be treated as a short-term capital asset if it was held by a assessee for not more than 24 months immediately preceding the date of its transfer. Suppose it's a land or building separately. If you hold it for 2 years and sell it, then it will be a long-term asset for you. Otherwise, it's a short-term asset. So one more slide. Thus, the period of holding an immovable property, being land or building or both, or being treated as a long-term capital gain, would be more than 24 months instead of 36 months. So for shares, for assets, I mean for a building or land, the criteria changes. For shares, 1 year. For a building or land, 2 years. Is that okay? Then equity-oriented funds, so definition I've given, so where, equity-oriented funds are those where 65% or more has been invested in shares. Okay, suppose it is 50% equity and 50% something else, gold or something, then it will not qualify in that 1 year period. Okay, so 65% should have been invested in shares to qualify as an equity-oriented fund, so that you get 1 year benefit. I mean, classified as a short-term or long-term. Okay, fine. Then scope and year of chargeability. Any profit or gains arising from transfer of capital asset effected in previous year shall be chargeable to income tax under the head in the previous year in which the transfer took place. For example, suppose you sell the property this year, so this is the previous year, okay, for you. The next will be the year when start will be the assessment year, okay. So whatever you earn the previous year, you have to pay tax on that, okay. That is now the previous year has already gone by for you earlier one where you paid taxes this year, okay, which was the assessment year. Have you followed it? So this is the previous year.
Let's say I'm selling my property in December.
Yeah.
Then my tax liability.
Yeah, tax liability you have to pay. That will depend upon some kind of your action.
I don't reinvest. And
Yeah.
I don't show that I have reinvested that money
Yeah.
which I gained from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
then what is my liability of
in this year.
delta on
In this year,
interest?
suppose you sell it, say, in the month of November, okay, some property, and you have made a profit of say 50 lakh rupees, okay, and you don't intend to invest anywhere and don't want to save that you have to pay tax. So assuming it's a a long-term capital gain, so let's say,
Yeah.
so you pay 20% tax on that, which is 10 lakhs. Okay, fine. Now you have to
So
pay
this one more question in this same thing. I will be paying tax only on the profit margin.
only on the profit. Yeah.
So if my circle rate, let's say, has become better off,
Uh,
then what cost and
we will just
profit?
hold on. We will be coming to that. There are so many examples of circle rates. I'll be taking care. Okay, so once it comes, then it will be better to
अभी सर
answer.
अभी वो बता दीजिए जो पीरियड आप बता रहे थे ना
हाँ, अभी आपको टैक्स जो है इस साल लगेगा. Okay, now since you have just sold it in the month of November, so you have to pay, in December there is an advance tax installment. There is a March, there is an advance tax installment. Otherwise, you pay it before filing your tax return. Okay, fine. So if it is a huge amount, you should pay it. Otherwise, it will carry some interest because you have to pay some kind of an advance tax in some installments. Okay, but since capital gain is, when you only, earn it, you have earned only in November, so you can't pay, in four equal installments or something like that. So there you have to just look at how much you have to pay depending upon what kind of installments which are left, and you pay in that fashion so that it doesn't attract any interest. Okay. Otherwise, you can choose to pay it along with filing of tax return because you think that I can save it. I may put some money, by March somewhere. So you can always think about and then do it.
I
Okay.
think there is a provision in one of the bank accounts, the type of account where if
Capital
you
gains.
watch your, yeah,
So hold on, we'll be coming to that. Okay, we'll come to that. Everything is covered. Okay. So mode of computation of capital gains under section 48. Sir, आप can you read, sir? माइक दे दीजिए सर. आपका कुछ प्रॉब्लम?
The income chargeable under the head capital gains shall be computed by deducting the following items from the full value of the consideration received or accruing as a result of the transfer of the capital asset.
So when you sell a property, okay, you get a sale consideration. From that, you have to deduct something. As he said, only the capital gain you have to pay tax and not entire sale consideration. Suppose you sold a property about 1 crore, whatever price that you bought, you have to deduct that. Okay, so we're coming to that. Yeah, next.
Expenditure incurred wholly and exclusively in connection with such transfer, brokerage, etc.
Brokerage, stamp duty, if you are paid, so that will also get deducted. Fine, because you are paying some brokerage to a broker for selling your property, so that's an expense. Plus, if suppose you have paid a stamp duty or some charges, so that will, okay.
The cost of acquisition and cost of any improvement thereto.
Suppose, at what price you bought. And suppose after purchasing, you have constructed a one floor also on that, or carried out, a major kind of a construction, only a capital construction. So that improvement you have to add. Okay. There will be questions coming, so it will get answered.
This brokerage needs to have a GST filing also.
yes,
Huh.
Only then.
You see, again, because you're individually you are selling it, so the guy is going to raise a bill on you and he's going to charge GST on you. Sometimes what happens that you say, "Ki, I don't want to pay GST, for example, off the record," then you don't take a bill, you pay in cash. Okay. Normally, 70 to 80% transactions are held in India like that. You don't require a bill. What for you require a bill? So he says, I'll settle in cash.
but in that case you will not be getting the benefit here now.
नहीं, हाँ, बेनिफिट नहीं हो, एब्सोल्युटली बेनिफिट
I
नहीं
will
हो.
not be getting benefit.
हाँ, 18% जो टैक्स लगेगा, तो you just see whether otherwise you're saving everything, so then it all depend upon which way you want. You want a bill or you don't. Depending upon your otherwise your liability is zero because of investing somewhere. So why to pay that 18% brokerage? Okay. Otherwise, if you want to claim brokerage, then you should have a pakka bill. Okay, fine for that. Okay. So there is something called cost of inflation index. Okay. So on a long-term capital gains, you are allowed for that. Okay. Okay, sir. Padhiye.
Under section 48, for computation of long-term capital gains, the cost of acquisition and cost of improvement will be increased by applying the cost inflation index.
So there is a cost of inflation index. I'll just show you. Okay. So that you have to apply uh, to pay capital gains to understand what kind of a long-term capital gains you have made. Okay.
Once the cost inflation index is applied to the cost of acquisition and cost of improvement, it becomes indexed cost of acquisition and indexed cost of improvement.
So then it becomes indexed. Okay, fine. Now this is the index of CI, which has been announced by the income tax authorities. So it starts from 2001 to 2002. Okay, so we'll talk about any property purchased before that, but first from 2001 to 2002, it was 100. Okay. And in 2020 to 23, it is 331. And for 2023-24, a provisional has been announced. Okay. So because it gets announced somewhere in March, so provision is 348, which means suppose if you have a property which you bought at 100 bucks and you sold it in 22-23, okay, so it is 3331. So you bought at 100 and you sold at 331, no tax, because the indexation cost will be 331. So your property was say 100 bucks, or it was say 100 crores or whatever. So if it is 331, 100 rupees you bought and sold at 331, there is no tax. As simple as that. We can apply this index to whatever price and calculate the index. So I will come to examples so you'll understand. Okay.
If I bought in around 15, 16,
हाँ जी.
sold,
हाँ, then it will be 331 divided by 240 or something जो आ रहा है 15-16 का 15-16 का है ना, so 254. So 331 divided by 254 multiplied by the cost of purchase. Okay, fine.
This is across the board for all the states.
This is entire India.
yeah,
Yeah, this is for whole of India.
you bought something and you sell after 15 years, calculate the cost on the whatever the difference you pay for it.
Absolutely. अभी आएंगे एग्जाम्पल इतने आएंगे कि that you will understand. You will be able to answer yourself. Okay. Cost of inflation index. Sir.
The base year is the first year of the cost inflation index and has an index value of 100. The index of all other years is compared to the base year to see the increase in inflation.
So as I mean, you can always see that. Okay.
For any capital asset purchased before the base year of the cost inflation index, taxpayers can take the purchase price higher and the purchase price higher of the actual cost or fair market value as of the first date of the base year.
Suppose you have purchased a property, say in 1990, okay, or maybe 2000, because this inflation index is starting from 2001 and 2002. So from on 1st of April 2001, you have to understand what is the fair market value of the property. So you go to a valuer, okay, he'll tell you the value of the property is this. Suppose you bought it at say 50 lakhs or 10 lakhs and the fair market value is say 50 lakhs. So then you can take 50 lakhs, okay, as your cost. Fine. And then apply the inflation index when you're selling in which year.
How to arrive at the real market value of 2000?
Actually, all.
The price you will be telling the fair market value.
So you have to give up this price at which you bought. Okay. So you engage a valuer. Okay. Fine. And he'll give you a certificate. Okay. He may charge 10,000, 5,000, whatever his fees, or maybe 20,000 now, I don't know. So he'll tell you that wherever in India, any nook and corner. So he'll tell you that this is the value of your property. Okay. The value of land and the construction cost, he'll add to it and he'll give you a report that this property which you, as on 2001, 1st April, this value of this property is say 25 lakhs. Though you might have bought it at 5 lakhs, आज 25 lakh की value है. Okay. So that means that is the fair market value. And then, and we are selling now in 2022-23, so you can apply your indexation 331 divided by 100 into 25 lakhs.
City to city it may differ.
Yes, yes.
City to city, that the fair market value will be, now we are really touching that little bit more about it. Okay. So there is, circle by circle, there is a stamp duty charges also and stamp duty value also. Okay. So you can refer to that also. We'll come to that. Abhi aate hain. Sometimes the stamp duty value may not be the most appropriate. Okay.
That's binding, sir.
That is binding. अभी हम उसको भी touch करेंगे. It is not 100% binding. We'll touch that. Okay. Fine. If there is a percentage, gap, अगर वो 110% से ऊपर हो गई है तो बाइंडिंग है. अगर आपकी वैल्यू 100% या आपकी वैल्यू उतनी ही आ रही है और आपने प्रॉपर्टी जो है कम बताई है तो 110% तक लीवे दिया जाता है उसके. अभी करेंगे, हम अभी पहुंचे ही नहीं वहां पर. ओके. ओके. ये हो गया था हमारा ना. ओके. फाइन. Third one.
Fixation benefit is applied to the purchase price so calculation. FMV is based on the valuation report of a registered value.
So you have to get a report from the registered value, and that you should have with you. Okay. You file a return. The report is with you. Only when it is asked, you show it. You don't have to file the FMV.
This registered value
मिलते हैं. I mean, I can give you numbers of 5 registered values. No, they are practitioners basically. They are approved by the income tax authorities. Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So अब आगे चलते हैं. So you get a registered values. They are available. अब आपकी विपुल आपको जब जरूरत पड़ेगी ना तो you will call up someone as CA or somebody. He will tell you that this is the guy who will do the job. हाँ बस जब पड़ेगी तो क्रॉस द ब्रिज व्हेन इट कम्स अराउंड. अभी वरी होने की जरूरत नहीं है. हाँ अभी नहीं. ओके ओके ओके. पॉइंट्स टू पॉन्डर इन केस. या प्लीज पढ़िए. दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. प्लीज रीड.
In case of property received in the will, CII has to be taken from the year in which the property is received. The actual purchase year of the property has to be ignored.
So suppose you have got a willed property. Okay. So when you received it, then from there, from that you have to calculate the cost of inflation. After there is a decided case, we'll talk about that in Bombay High Court or somewhere, where they said it will be from the date of when it was purchased by your ancestor or something. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Ignore the improvement cost incurred before 1st April 2000. This is the second one. This is not. So ignore the improvement cost before 1st April 2001. So if there is any improvement so because you are calculating the fair market value of the property, okay? So which includes your improvement also. So you have to, whatever improvements you have done before 2001, that has to be ignored because you are taking a fair market value from the help of a registrar. Okay, with the help of a registrar.
Will if the property is selling, then you will take. Otherwise, if you take the property,
हाँ नहीं विल में अगर विल हुई गिफ्ट हुई तो देयर इज नो टैक्स, देयर इज नो कैपिटल गेन. ओके. मीनिंग ऑफ फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू. ओके ओके.
When the capital asset becomes the property of the assessee before 1st April 2001, cost of acquisition means the cost of acquisition of the asset to the assessee or the fair market value of the asset on 1st April 2001. That's the option of the assessee.
So this I have already said. So it is your option whether to take at what price you purchase or the fair market value. Okay, you will always take a FMV if it is higher. If it is lower, you will ignore it. Okay, but that chance is very less. Okay.
However, in case of capital asset being land or building or both, the fair market value of such asset on 1st April 2001 shall not exceed the stamp duty value wherever available of such asset as on 1st April 2001.
So हाँ वो अगर स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू से ज्यादा एक्सीड नहीं होनी चाहिए. यू से माय वैल्यू ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी से 50 lakhs. स्टैम्प ड्यूटी इज 40 lakhs. So you have to take 40 lakhs as your cost of acquisition. Fine. Is that okay? हाँ इसमें तो है ही. अभी आपको और थोड़ा सा रिलीफ बताएंगे आगे. Okay. Is that okay? Fine. Then just read.
Where capital assets became the property of the assessee by way of distribution of assets on or partial partition of
HUF.
under a gift or will by succession, inheritance, distribution of assets on liquidation of a company, etc. And the capital asset became the property of the previous owner before 1st April 2001.
Okay, so if this is the case that the property became yours before 1st April 2001 and it has come through inheritance or partition of HUF, Hindu undivided family, or by whatever means by a gift. So in that case, the cost of the previous owner or FMV as on 1/4/2001 as an option of the assessee. So it's okay. However, in case of a capital asset being land and building, fair market value as on 1st April 2001 shall not exceed. So this is the same thing which is said in different words. Now previous slide है but more in an organized manner. Same चीज है. Okay, fine.
गिफ्ट पे टैक्स नहीं लगता है.
नहीं, गिफ्ट पे आपको गिफ्ट पे मिली है, जहां सॉरी गिफ्ट पे आई है तो उस पे कोई कैपिटल गेन नहीं लगेगा.
मेरे इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न.
हाँ आपको सपोज गिफ्ट कर दी आपके ब्रदर ने, ओके एनीवन, सो उस पे आपको कोई भी उसको कैपिटल गेन नहीं माना. हाँ अगर आप उसको अपने नाम पे रजिस्टर कराते हो तो तब
गिफ्ट का मतलब क्या हुआ?
गिफ्ट का मतलब हुआ कि सपोज फॉर एग्जांपल योर ब्रदर हैज गिफ्टेड अ प्रॉपर्टी, सो इट वाज से 50 लाख रुपीस, सो ही हैज गिवन टू यू, दैट्स ऑल. अब आपके नाम पे गिफ्ट हो गया तो ही विल मेक अ गिफ्ट डीड ऑन अ स्टैम्प पेपर ही हैज गिफ्टेड, सो यू कैन कीप दैट एज योर टाइटल ऑफ डॉक्यूमेंट्स. बट सपोज यू थिंक he cannot claim because नहीं so अगर हाँ वो तो है तो you get it registered under with a registrar ना, वो तो आप चले जाओ उसको लेके, हाँ वहाँ आपको स्टैम्प ड्यूटी पे करेंगे. Okay, if your father gives so वो मांगेंगे नहीं आपसे, बाकी को तो कुछ कह नहीं सकते.
Just to be on that relation, sir.
Yeah, you in the that direction the gifting.
हाँ
And if we do some modification or generate some income over this year, that is taxable.
हाँ
The gift is not taxable, but if you generate some income, that 50 lakh you invest in business, that is taxable.
Correct, but that's what sir said ना. If he has given me a gift, मैं उसको लेके वैसे ही रखूँ.
Yes.
Then that chain remains okay. तहसीलदार के records में वो आ गया, वो मैं वैसे ही रखूँगा. But it will still not be under my name.
हाँ, it will be in your, I mean,
It will always
the
be
previous
under
owner.
his
In the
name.
records of the, I mean, registration authorities, it will be in the previous owner's name. Okay.
So they can be a little dilemma later.
हाँ, तो आप उसको रजिस्टर कराओगे तो आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन चार्जेस पे करना
What about whether property is transferred from father to son, sir?
पड़ेगा. हाँ, that's under will.
Then you have to be the only son.
So what is your question
The
actually?
question is then, is the son supposed to pay the tax?
No. Stamp duty नहीं है. Like, you know, I got a property from my father. So we are 5 brothers. So when it, as per will, it devolved on us. So we never paid. Only when we sold it. Okay, fine. So when we sold it, that time also the other buyer had to pay the stamp duty and not us. Fine. So we never paid any stamp duty on the property which I got from my parents, my father. So we were 5 brothers. So he wrote a will for my brothers and sisters also. So that property, after 10 years, we sold it. Okay.
But that was not a gift, no?
That was a will से आई थी. हाँ, अगर गिफ्ट से भी आती, during the lifetime, my father would have given the property to me, and I would have left it like this without going and getting registered in my name. Suppose I would have only son, या मुझे ऐसा लगता नहीं था कोई डिस्प्यूट है, घर वाली कहानी नहीं है अगर, तो फिर मैं जब बेचूंगा तो अगला आदमी पे करेगा ना स्टैम्प ड्यूटी, मैं तो पे करूँ. नो नो नो, ऐसा नहीं है कि अब वो जो खरीद रहा है उसको स्टैम्प ड्यूटी इसलिए पे करने की मैंने नहीं पे करी. नो नो नीड, नो नीड, नो नीड, नो नीड, नो नीड. सर जी, मैं तो, हम वो तो आपने सिर्फ प्रोबेट कराई होगी उसको. सर ऐसा है, एक सेकेंड, टू बी वेरी फ्रैंक, एज आई नो, वी केप्ट द प्रॉपर्टी, विल्ड प्रॉपर्टी, इन इट वाज इन माय फादर्स नेम. सो वी आर डूइंग बिजनेस इन दैट प्रॉपर्टी. सो फॉर 10 years इट रिमेन. हाँ, वो तो है. अगर आपने उसको अपने नाम पे लानी है तो फिर आप पैकेज. हाँ ना, तो वो हमने, सुनो, जस्ट होल्ड ऑन. हाँ हाँ, तो हम, या, सो ऐसा नहीं था. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि हाँ, अब वॉट एवर यू आर सेइंग, इट वाज अ विल्ड प्रॉपर्टी, एंड इट वाज, वी नेवर गॉट इट इन आवर नेम इवन व्हेन वी सोल्ड इट, एंड ही नेवर आस्क्ड दैट. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It is not required. So he paid the taxes because he purchased from. He, for us, the title document was the will of our father. So we said this is the property which belongs to us. All our names are written. We are the owners of the property as per will. As per Hindu Succession Act, we become the owners of the property. Haji? All brothers. As per the will. भाई ये जरूर था. ऐसा होता है, देखो, जो प्रॉपर्टी होती है, अब इसमें मैं कॉम्प्लिकेट नहीं करता बिकॉज द टोटली टॉपिक इज डिफरेंट. ओके, सो लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. ओके, फाइन. सो इफ देयर इज एनी मैटर यू कैन रेफर टू अ लॉयर. ओके, फाइन. ओके, ओके, नेक्स्ट. सो वेयर सच, ओके, रीड सर.
Where such capital asset became the property of the assessee before 1st April 2001, cost of the asset to the assessee or fair market value as of 1st April 2001 at the option of the assessee. However, in case of capital asset being land or building, FMV as of 1st April 2001 shall not exceed stamp.
So why there are two here? One is it is coming from inheritance. Another, bought your property before 1st of April. So in both cases, the law is same. The cost of the asset to the assessee will be the fair market value, and it should not be, it should not exceed the stamp value. Okay. Case one. So let's understand some examples here, please. See, very important thing. I'll cover almost all kinds of possible examples to understand the whole topic. Okay. Okay.
Rahul purchased a flat in financial year 2001-2 for rupees 10 lakh. He sells the flat in financial year 2017-18. What will be the indexed cost of acquisition?
So, in this case, CII for the year 2001, 2002, and 2017 and 2018 will be considered. Okay. The CII is the cost of inflation index. Okay. which we just discussed. Okay, so it is in 2001, 2002, it was 100. We know that, and in 2017, 18, it is 272. Okay, so it is 272 divided by 100 into 10 lakhs. So 26 lakhs. So that means you purchase the property of 10 lakhs. When you are selling, uh, the cost of acquisition is 27 lakh 20,000. So if you want to see, I mean, this is the cost of inflation index. Okay, fine. So 2001, 2002, it's 100, and 2017, 18, it is 272. Okay, so 272 divided by 100 multiplied by 10 lakhs. So you got 27 lakh 20,000. Okay, is that okay? Clear? Okay.
So it means that whatever value you sell
Which means that you purchase the property at 10 lakhs. Okay. Now उसकी आज की वैल्यू 27 लाख 20,000 की आपकी कॉस्ट इतनी मानी जाएगी. सपोज यू सेल इट फॉर से 30 lakhs फॉर एग्जांपल. सो टैक्स विल बी नाउ 2 लाख 80,000. हाँ, उस पर टैक्स लगेगा. अभी हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप समझ रहे हैं. अभी अब टैक्स पे भी आएंगे अभी. ओके, फाइन. ओके,
Sir, the base year they have taken 2000 and 2001.
अच्छा वो 2001 2000.
Sir, the year which we have bought, it will be placed as zero, na? So 100, na?
हाँ,
वो है ना चार्ट है ना सर whatever is there it is fixed sir 2005 to only is here
Suppose if somebody has bought it in 2017, then what he is selling, then what will be the first
सर आप दूसरा देखते जाइए, आपको और आते रहेंगे, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट ईयर्स के समझ में आ जाएगा. ओके, शिवानी परचेज्ड. ओके सर, कैन यू रीड?
Money purchased a capital asset in 95-96 for rupees 2 lakhs. Fair market value of the capital asset on 1st April 2001 was rupees 3,20,000. He sells the asset in 2016-17. What is the index cost of acquisition?
ओके, so so he has purchased at what, 2 lakhs, whereas the fair market value is 3 lakh 20,000. So we'll take the base has 100. Okay, and 216 17 we'll see the inflation index. So it is 264 into 100 multiplied by 3 lakh 20,000. Is that okay? हाँ, तो इसमें दो चीजें इन्वॉल्व हैं, बिकॉज यू परचेज द प्रॉपर्टी 95 96. ओके, so you take the value as of 1st April 2001. What is the fair market value? So we have taken that and applied as a base of 100, and today's, I mean, the base when he sold was 264.
So all the properties prior to 2001 are to be
Absolutely. उसका fair market value लेना पड़ेगा और 2001 will become your base year. Okay.
and also if this property is in the name of 2 or 3 people then they will divide the tax.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not 1%.
हाँ, like for example, when we got a property from my father, it was willed. So when we sold it, so we calculated what was our share. 1/5 was our share. Okay, so that is what you're saying. Okay, okay. So Shivani purchased. Okay, can you read?
Shivani purchased the capital asset in 95-96 for rupees 2 lakhs. Fair market value of the capital asset was 3,20,000. Stamp duty value was 3,05,000. Sells the asset in 16-17. What is the index cost of
So everything remains the same except 3,05,000 हो जाएगा. Is that okay? Fine. So example. Okay.
This is Shivangi purchases a house on 6 June 18 for rupees 7 lakhs. She spends additional rupees 1 lakh on its furnishing in June 2020. Sells the house for 20 lakhs on March 9 23. Transfer expenses rupees 20,000.
Okay. So here, I've just shared an Excel sheet also. So we will, I'll just go to the Excel sheet which I have calculated. Okay. I'll just open from. So I'm going to legal aspect. So I've shared this, files here. So there is a file called capital gains tax example. Okay. So there are various kinds of scenarios, and Okay. Was this the question? ये question है ना?
नहीं, not for reveal, बाद में एक बार जगह डाउन हो जाते हैं, जाते के बाद float करते हैं, you put the
Okay. So the question was basically Shivang purchased the house for rupees 7 lakhs. She spends additional 1 lakh on its furnishing. She sells the house for 20 lakhs. Okay. So if you see the answer, so sale consideration is 20 lakhs and transfer expense is 20,000. Okay. Index cost of acquisition, which is we have calculated here. So I'll just show you formulas. So basically it has been calculated like this. So 7 lakhs की property base, okay, जो and the it is 331, which is the this one, okay, and 280 was the year of purchase, so it becomes, so we have calculated this as 8 lakh 27,500, okay, where I have applied the cost of acquisition index because in this question what is written that she has purchased it 7 lakhs. ओके तो पहला तो 7 लाख है परचेज का, तो इसका कॉस्ट ऑफ और कब खरीदा था 2018 में. ओके सो 2018-19 में तो इट वाज 280. ओके सो दिस इज कमिंग हियर 280 एंड 331 व्हेन वी सोल्ड इट which is 2023. Okay so it is coming here fine. So 331 divided by 280 it comes to 1.18. Okay so this price 7 lakhs multiplied by, so 7 lakhs is here somewhere here. So 7 lakhs multiplied by this 1.18 comes here 8 lakh 27,000. Similarly, improved cost of improvement 1 lakh. Okay, and this was done when 2020. So I'll just remove this arrows and go here and trace. So it is basically 1 lakh improvement, okay, which was done in 2020. So index was 301 that time, and when selling it was 331, so 10% higher, so which is coming to, or rather rounded off to 10%, but it's not exactly 10%, so it comes to 1 lakh 9,066. So long term capital gain will be this amount. So I just remove these arrows and put here. So it is basically 20 lakhs minus 20,000 minus 8 lakhs minus 1 lakhs. It comes to 10 lakhs. And capital gain tax is 20% of that. Suppose we have to calculate capital gains. So she has to pay 2 lakh 8,000 tax. Plus, of course, there is a 4% cess which I have not included here. इसके ऊपर भी 4% cess लगता है. Okay.
So
Fine.
the cost of improvement is also indexed.
Is it index? Cost of improvement as well as cost of acquisition.
Yes, acquisition is.
हाँ और जब आपने कैपिटल गेन निकाल टोटल कैपिटल लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल निकाल लिया तो आपको उसके ऊपर 20% टैक्स देना है. ओके सो विच आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू हियर. ओके विच आई जस्ट आई स्किप्ड इट एट द बिगनिंग. सो
But why the cost of improvement is indexed, sir? It is also applicable for the depreciation also. Suppose I put some plywood and interiors. Over the year, the rate of that increase comes down also. Why are we just increasing with every passing year?
एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि जिस साल आपने खरीदी थी वो 1 लाख की, अगर आप दोबारा आज कराओगे वो काम तो उतनी कितनी कॉस्ट है. ओके फाइन. नॉट डेप्रिसिएशन में तो आपको नुकसान ही हो जाएगा, बट इनकम टैक्स गिव यू दैट बेनिफिट, टेक इट. ओके ओके जस्ट लुक एट हेयर. हाँ जी, ऐसे तो आपका जो बिल्डिंग है वो भी तो डेप्रिशिएट होती है ना. आपकी कॉस्ट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन में 1 करोड़ लग गया, सपोज आपने अच्छी बिल्डिंग बनाई. ओके आपने 1 करोड़ लगाया, उसको भी तो कॉस्ट ऑफ इंप्रूवमेंट लेते हो. आप बोलो मैंने 10 साल के बेची थी. ओके बट आप जब नई बनाओगे तो आपको ज्यादा खर्चा लगेगा ना. देयर इज आल्सो
And here the important factor is the government is giving benefit to the customers.
या इट्स गिविंग बेनिफिट. और साथ में एक दूसरा क्या है, बिल्डिंग डेप्रिशिएट्स, ऑफ कोर्स लैंड एप्रिशिएट्स, so they are not considering that, they are just giving you a total indexation benefit on all. Okay so there are two kinds of gains, short term capital gain and long term capital gains. Okay so this is the format of the short term capital gain. Full value of the consideration जितने का बेचा आपने. ओके अगर आपने सपोज 2 साल से पहले बेच दी प्रॉपर्टी, ओके देन इट्स अ शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन. इफ यू आर सेलिंग द प्रॉपर्टी आफ्टर 2 years, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग ओनली, नॉट शेयर्स. ओके फॉर दैट द विल बी 1 year. So full value of the consideration less expenditure incurred wholly and exclusively in connection with this transfer, that is brokerage or stamp duty. Net sale consideration less cost of acquisition. Okay so now here you will not be getting the CII benefit. Only you will get if it is a long-term capital gain. आपने 2 साल के अंदर अंदर बेच दी, then you will not be entitled for the cost of inflation benefit. अगर आपने 2020 में बेची खरीदी या 2021 में खरीदी और 2023 में बेच दी तो नहीं मिलेगी अगर 2 साल कंप्लीट नहीं हुए तो. Okay, so now then you get some exemptions under section 54D. So we'll discuss later. And the resultant is short term capital gains. Is that okay? इसमें सिर्फ आपने क्या लेना है, जितने का आपने बेचा और जितने का आपने खरीदा वो माइनस करा, और खरीदने की कोई कॉस्ट है वो भी माइनस कर दी अगर ब्रोकरेज पे करी है. सो नेट जो निकलेगा दैट विल बी योर कैपिटल गेन. You can pay tax on it, or if you want to save, you can take some benefit under section 54B and 54D. So we are going to discuss that later.
So here the tax is as per the slab, when tax,
Yeah, slab rate. Yeah, इसमें तो आपके स्लैब पे लगेगा.
30%.
Yeah. Now, if you come to a long-term capital gain, if you come for a long-term capital gain, then you take the value at which you sold minus the expenditure which you have incurred on the cost of for by selling the property. So that will become your net sale consideration less index cost of acquisition less index cost of improvement. So it is called long-term capital gain. Then, if you want to still save and you don't want to pay, then there are exemptions. There are some more exemption. 54, you can buy another house, or you can invest in capital gains, bonds. So we'll discuss that later. Second part of it. Okay. So the resultant will get long-term capital gain. So you have to pay 20% tax after you have claimed all possible exemptions. If still there is some capital gain, you have to pay tax on that
Here it is 20%, there it was as per your tax slab.
as per your tax slab. If it is property or some, land and building. Okay, fine. Okay. Now this is the chart here. Capital asset, if it is an immovable property, such as house property, less than 2 years, so it is short term as well as long term. Holding period of the capital asset, which is the top line, short term and long term. Immovable property, such as house property, less than 2 years, short term, long term, if it is more than 2 years. Movable property, such as gold or jewelry, less than 3 years, it is a short term, and 3 years more, a long term. So if you are having a gold, you have to at least hold it for 3 years, okay, and then sell it, then it will become a long term. So you will get a benefit of that. Otherwise, you have to pay higher tax rate. Okay. Listed shares, you can, if you sell it before 1 year, it's a short term. If you sell after 2 years, after 1 year, it will become long term. Equity oriented mutual funds, again the same criteria. Debt oriented mutual funds, if it is a debt oriented mutual fund, fixed income, where the money has been invested in fixed income securities or bonds or debentures, then the period is 3 years to be classified as long term and short term. Okay. अब इसमें benefit पहले मिलता था, वो खत्म कर दिया इस बजट से. You used to get indexation benefit, now you're not entitled for it. Okay, because the banks, when you buy a fixed deposit for 3 years, okay, you earn a certain interest, okay, and you have to pay that is included in your income as short term, from other sources. Income from other sources में tax लगता है आपको. And every year there is a TDS which is deducted by the bank. Whereas if you are holding a mutual fund which is a debt oriented, you have to pay capital gains only when you sell it. Okay, till the time you don't sell, you don't have to pay any tax. So that benefit still remains with a debt mutual fund. Suppose आपने 3 साल के बाद बेचा तो आपको सारा टैक्स 3 साल के बाद देना पड़ेगा. और इसमें क्या है, फिक्स्ड deposits में you calculate the interest and offer it for taxation every year, so that you can reduce the tax liability in the final year. Okay, and debt oriented mutual funds में after 3 years, if you sell it after 3 years before this March which has gone by, you got the indexation benefit. So virtually you're not paying any tax. Okay, fine. So the banks were, asking the finance man, saying for so many years they were, pleading that this benefit should be taken away from the debt mutual funds, because everybody is going and depositing in debt mutual funds and nobody is making an FD in our bank. So this competes with the fixed deposits of the bank, and the banks were in a situation where they were not able to match the terms being offered by the debt mutual. अगर एक debt mutual fund है आपको 7.5% interest दे रहा है और fixed deposit भी 7.5 दे रहा है, so people were going for debt mutual funds rather than a bank, because there you get a indexation benefit. After 4 years when you sell it, you don't have to pay any tax. Okay, assuming that 7.5% is the inflation every year, suppose, so at the end of the third year if you sell it, there will be no tax. Okay. If suppose inflation is 6%, so only 3% will become your income and you have to pay hardly any tax on that. Is that okay? And so that has been withdrawn now. Okay. So as per section 112 of the Income Tax Act, long-term capital gain on sale of immovable property in India is taxed at 20%. Okay, with indexation benefit. Fine. तो आपको 20% टैक्स देना पड़ता है, इंडेक्सेशन बेनिफिट भी मिलेगा और 20% टैक्स भी होगा. अगर आपका 30% टैक्स ब्रैकेट है, स्टिल यू हैव टू पे. But if your tax bracket is 10%, you have to still pay 20%. So that is the downward. Okay. Okay, so this we have done. So we'll just move to some more example. Okay, so can you read, sir?
A person becomes the owner of a capital asset not only by purchase but also by several other methods. Section 49 gives guidelines as to how to compute the cost under different circumstances. In the following cases, the cost of acquisition of the asset shall be deemed to be cost for which the previous owner of the property acquired it.
So in the following cases, the cost of acquisition of the asset shall be deemed to be the cost for the previous owner of the property acquired it. Okay, fine. So this is very important. So the person who actually bought, that cost will be that cost and not, that cost will be considered for the previous owner. Okay, who is going to sell it?
So this cost, the cost of improvement to the asset incurred by the previous owner or the assessee must be added.
So whatever improvements have been done either by the previous owner or by you will be added to it. Okay.
Where the capital asset became the property of the assessee on any distribution of assets on partition of a HUF
So it becomes because of a partition of HUF.
under a gift or will by succession and inheritance.
Okay, so let's understand an example of that. Okay, so X and Sons HUF purchase a land for rupees 1,20,000. Okay, in the year previous year 2002-3. Okay, so this is X and Son who's an HUF. Okay, so they purchase a land for 1,20,000. In the previous year 2006-7, a partition took place when Mr. A, who was the co-partner, allotted this plot valued at 1,50,000. So he got a property for 1,50,000 rupees. Okay, at the time of partition. In the previous year 2007-8, he had incurred an expense of 2,35,000 towards fencing the plot. Okay, Mr. A sells this plot of land for 15 lakhs in the previous year 21-22 after incurring an expense of 20,000. Okay, you are required to calculate the capital gain for assessment year 22-23, which is already gone by. Okay, so first I will calculate for 22-23 and then I'll calculate for 23-24 as if he has sold in 22-23. Okay, so I'll just change this thing. Okay, just have a look. Now, what was the price which was sold? 15 lakhs. 15 lakh में बेचा कब? 21-22 में. And how much he has spent on expenses? 20,000. Okay, so minus 20,000. So 14,80,000. Then less cost of indexation. It was purchased at 1,20,000 by the HUF. Okay, so that cost will be taken. Okay, similarly, this guy has spent 2,35,000 for improvement for fencing it. So index cost of improvement. So now this will be 317, which is the current, in 2022 index. Okay, which I have explained here. So 2021-22 index is 370. Okay, and then 122 is the index for 2006-2007 when the partition took place. When the partition took place, it happened in 2006. The land was purchased in 2002-2003, but the partition took place at 2006 and 7. Okay, so the cost of acquisition will be indexed from 2006-2007 and not from 2002-2003 when it was originally bought. Okay, तो हमने क्या करा? 317 divided by 122 into 1 lakh, so it became 3 lakh. And then the indexation improvement happened in which year? In 2007-2008 when the index was 129. So we applied to it. So it became 8,89,000. So long-term capital gain is 5,90,000. Is that okay? One more thing, okay, just before you ask question. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, just read it.
As per the view expressed by Bombay High Court in CIT vs. Manjula J. Shah, 16 Taxman 42, in case the cost of acquisition of the capital asset in the hands of the SSC is taken to be cost of such asset in the hands of the previous owner, indexation benefit would be available from the year in which the capital asset is acquired by the previous owner. If this view is considered, the index cost of acquisition would have to be calculated by considering the CII of financial year 2000.
हाँ दोबारा बताओ देखो ये प्रॉपर्टी जो खरीदी थी एचयूएफ ने वो तो खरीदी थी 2002 2003 में बट इट चेंज हैंड in 2006 and 7 so we applied the indexation benefit from 2006 and 7 to the person who has sold the property but as per this judgment the indexation will be applied from 2000 to 2003 okay it says that if the cost of purchase of such asset in the hands of previous owner, the indexation benefit also will be available from the year in which the capital asset is acquired by the previous owner. यानी कि अगर हम कॉस्ट ले रहे हैं प्रीवियस ओनर की तो हमें वो डेट भी प्रीवियस ईयर की लेनी चाहिए जिस साल में उसने खरीदा था सो वी आर ओनली टेकिंग वन पार्ट देयर आर टू पार्ट्स व्हेन आई परचेज द प्रॉपर्टी लेट्स गो टू द क्वेश्चन दिस प्रॉपर्टी वाज परचेज ऑन 1,20,000 so this 1,20,000 has become freeze for the new owner. So he's going to take this cost, isn't it? It was purchased in 2023, but it happened to come to, he became the owner only in 2006 and 2007. Okay. This guy became Mr. A, who is a co-partner. You understand what is co-partner? नहीं देखो क्या होता है कि if there is an HUF now HUF is applicable whole of India except I think Kerala okay or maybe somewhere else so it's applicable everywhere for Hindu people okay Hindus so where if the property gets devolved from your father so and there are 5 sons or 3 sisters so everyone will become the people who are left behind they will be called co-partners so the property will be the property of all those people in that share suppose a person has 3 sons so he dies so he leaves the property and the 3 people the property will become one third one third one third and it will be an HUF okay so this property will be called HUF okay and there will be 3 owners to that property.
In this example, can we take X and sons HUF is the father?
Let's say X and sons are basically father and sons, okay? Because he also got the property from his from his father. X and sons also because it's an HUF by itself. The HUF can only happen from ancestors. I mean from the succession only. Okay, like suppose I have got the property from my father. Okay, I am holding one house. Okay, that's an HUF. Okay, now my son is actually also the owner of the property and along with me. Okay, so when he gets married and he has a son and a daughter, they will automatically have a share in that property. So it will keep on passing like this.
So your son is A in this case.
Yeah.
And when he says allotted this plot.
Yeah.
Allotted this plot means
Allotted means ki I did a partition. I said okay I'm partitioning the HUF. I'm giving one piece of land to my son. Okay, so he got the property from me HUF property. Now this property will become his HUF property. So when his descendant are born. His son is born or daughter is born, they will automatically have the right in this property. So either you have your property which is self-acquired or you have a property which belongs to your ancestors, which is called HUF. Okay. So X and son is an HUF. They got the property from their fathers or their ancestors. So they purchase a property. Now they might have got cash, for example, that is HUF cash. So they bought a property of 1,20,000 from that. It's an HUF property. Now in 2006 2007, some property was passed on to one of its co-partner, which is A. Co-partner means there can be B also is another son. Okay, so A got a property of HUF and the value was 1,50,000 for that property. When the partition was done, they said okay अब 4 crore की property है हमारी हमने इसको ऐसे पार्ट लिया आपस में पार्ट लोगे 1,50,00,000 property is yours but this property was purchased at 1,20,000.
So what is right and what is wrong is for the income tax calculation, the first buyer is considered or the initial year is considered 2006 और ईयर 2000
हाँ, तो अब जो हमें क्या करना है इसमें 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 व्हाट वाज द इशू दैट वी आर टेकिंग द कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन एज 1,20,000 but the year of acquisition is taken as 2006 and 2007. That is the income tax view. Whereas the court's view is that you take 1,20,000 as cost of acquisition as well as the index year as 2002-23. When it 2002 to 2003, दोनों एक ही डेट की लेनी चाहिए आपको. Whereas income tax authority says that the cost to the previous year should be 1,20,000, but for indexation benefit, you should take the year in which you got the property in your hands when it became your property.
which is a beneficial gain for the
The beneficial will be from right from 2002 2003. You know, because अब आपको इंडेक्सेशन बेनिफिट मिल रहा है 2002 2003 से, और आपको एक्चुअली इनकम टैक्स से मिल रहा है 2006 2007 से. एज पर द इनकम टैक्स व्यू, यू आर मिसिंग दोज ईयर, यू नो, लाइक 3 or 4 years ऑफ इंडेक्सेशन बेनिफिट, इजंट इट? अगर वो मिल जाता तो आपको टैक्स और कम देना पड़ता, इजंट इट? यू गॉट इट और नॉट? आई थिंक यू नॉट गॉट इट. भाई जितना ज्यादा आपको मिलेगा, आप ये देखो 2002 2003, ओके, 2000 2003 कितना है 105, बट आपको जो मिल रहा है वो मिल रहा है 122. ओके, तो अगर आपको 105 मिलता, 317 divided by 105 multiplied by the 1,20,000, you could have got much more, isn't it? So 317 divided by 105 हो जाता. So your cost of acquisition would have increased, isn't it? So that is the amount of benefit you are losing. But the court decided that it should be taken as 105 and not 122. SSC has taken this, but he had an option to take 105 as per the court judgment. If it is a Supreme Court judgment, then that becomes a law. But then if it is a High Court judgment, then you know the other the if you know, it is like it happens in Bombay and somebody in Madras is doing it. So Madras, you know, income tax authorities may not agree to that. This judgment is not applicable to us.
so as of now income tax department still
हाँ, वो रूल अभी भी है जब तक सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं डिसाइड कर लेगा. बट यू कैन टेक द बेनिफिट बाय कोटिंग द दिस जजमेंट एंड फाइट द केस. इफ यू नो आपने टैक्स फाइल कर ली, हो सकता है आपको कुछ होगा ही नहीं, आपने टैक्स फाइल करके, यू नो, आउट ऑफ 100, out of 1,000 only one people get a this thing call, so you can just get that benefit. Okay, fine. Is this okay? Okay, now just we look for from the point of view that it was sold in the current year. Okay, fine. The same question, but it was sold in two. Now what was the you know capital gains here? 5,90,000. Okay, just remember the figure 5,90,000.
So how much was the tax on this?
20%. If he doesn't claim any benefit. इंडेक्सेशन तो सब कुछ ले लिया, अगर उसको कोई सेव नहीं करा, कुछ नहीं करा, then he has to pay 20%.
5 lakh 90.
हाँ, 20% of I plus 4% cess. Okay. Now the question remains the same, but in this he is selling in 22-23. In this that it was selling in 21-22. 21-22 में था, अब बेचा इसने okay 22-23 में, because now we are more interested in 22-23 because this अगर current year में बेचूं मैं तो मेरा कितना टैक्स लगेगा, बिकॉज दैट इज द मोस्ट रीसेंट पॉइंट. ओके, सो सर आपने अभी लेट ज्वाइन करे हो, सो जस्ट लेट मी फॉर योर बेनिफिट. सो देयर वाज अ HUF, you know, they had purchased up land for 1,20,000 in 2002-2003. It's a HUF property, the property which they inherited from their ancestors. It means that now in the previous year 2006-2007 a partition took place when a person who is part of the HUF, he's called the co-partner, he got this property. Okay, and this property was valued by HUF as 1,20,000. You know, when the family partition happens and they say कि this property is value 1 lakh, this belongs to you, ये आपकी होगी. Okay, now in the previous year 2007-2008 he had incurred an expense of 2,35,000 towards fencing the plot. So he had spent some more money, you know, improving, I mean, for securing his, I mean, ownership. Now A sells this plot for 15 lakhs. A has sold this plot for 15 lakhs. When? In the current year 2022-23 में बेच दिया उसने, after incurring of expenses of 20,000, which was, you know, brokerage charges or something like. Okay, you are required to compute what is the capital gain, how much tax this guy has to pay, which is A. Now let's talk about this thing. So sale consideration is how much? 15 lakhs. What is the expense brokerage he has paid? 20,000. So 1480. Now the property was purchased by X and Sons in the year 2002 2003. It was 1,20,000. So this purchase price will be taken as the cost to A and not as 1,50,000. Okay. जो previous owner की cost होती है, that is considered for calculating your tax. Okay. Now it was purchased in 2002 and 2003, but the indexation benefit will be applicable only from 2006 2007 when the property became the property of A. Okay. So in that case, if you look at the indexation, it starts from 2001 2002, which starts at 100. So in 2002 to 3 it was 105. In 2006 and 7 it was 122. In 2007 it 129. 2022 23 331. So he sold in 2022 23. So index was 331. When he got the property, it was 122. When the property was purchased by HUF, it was 105. So, but we are going to take 122. So 331 divided by 122 indexation cost. So 1,20,000 will be equivalent to 3,25,000. So that means for computing the capital gains, we don't take the cost. The indexation benefit gets is claimed by the assessee. Then indexation cost of improvement. So since he has done some improvement when 2007 2008 and 2007 2008 is 129. So it is 331 divided by 129. Okay. So the total cost of acquisition and improvement comes to 9,28,000. He sold it for 14,80,000. So which means the long-term capital gain is 5,51,000. If he would have sold in the current year, but he sold in my previous example, he sold in a year prior to that. So in that case, the liability was 5,90,000. एक साल के बाद बेचता तो उसका 5,51,000 और 40,000 कम हो जाता. But हाँ ऐसे कर दो. I mean, if you're selling in March, don't sell in April. You will get the next year. So that's the thing. Okay? So here, there was one judgment which happened in Bombay High Court that they said that if the cost of acquisition is taken in the year in which was purchased by the previous owner, then the cost for indexation benefit also that year should be taken, and not the year when he received the property. So while we have calculated, that's the income tax view. So I have calculated the capital gains as per the income tax. But the Bombay High Court says that it should be the cost of purchase as well as the cost of for the purpose of indexation benefit. The same year should be taken of the previous owner, and not when the new owner had received the property. So that is the only thing. Okay. Fine. Okay. So this one more example we'll be doing. अभी कितना time बचा है इसके लिए? है अभी. Okay. Just read, sir.
Mr. K purchases a house property on 10th April 92 for rupees 65,000.
So he has purchased the property way back in 1992 for 65. So please, people, please listen. So this property was bought by Mr. K on 10th of April 1992 at 65,000. The fair market value of the house property on 1st April 2001 was 2,70,000. Okay. Now, because this property was bought in 1992 and the index starts from 2001 and 2002, which was 100. Okay. I'm just telling for this thing because he joined there. So any property which has been purchased prior to the index when it was started, so we have to calculate the fair market value on that day, 1st April 2001. So that time the fair market value was 2,70,000. This was done by a registered valuer. You have to go to a registered valuer. He'll tell you what is the value of the property. So he says 2,70,000. Whereas the stamp duty value was 2,20,000. So the law says you have to take lower of, I should not exceed the stamp duty. Stamp duty value जो है, मतलब stamp duty value in the final, sorry. Circle rate. So this will become the final value for assessing your cost of property and not 2,70,000 because you said the fair market value is 270. As per stamp value, it is coming 2,20,000. So you have to pay 2,20,000. In May 2008, Mr. K constructed a first floor by incurring a cost of 2,35,000. So he incurred a first floor by spending 2,35,000. Subsequently, in January 2009, Mr. K gifted the house to his brother, Mr. D. Okay. So you are Mr. D. Okay. On February 10th, 2022, Mr. D sold the house for 12 lakh. So you have sold it. Okay. Now, this is the cost of inflation index for 2001, 2 and 2004, 5. Okay. So compute the capital gains in the hands of Mr. D for 22, 23. So first of all, the fair market values, what should be what is the price of the house? 12 lakhs. What is the fair market value? We should take 2 lakh 20,000. Now, Mr. K, he has spent 2 lakh 35,000. So this is cost of improvement. So we'll take that. Okay. So let's understand. So this is 12 lakh sale consideration. Then indexation cost will be 2 lakh 20,000. And we will take the inflation index from 137. So 137 was 2008, 2009. So what is this year? When the property was gifted to Mr. K, Mr. D. उस साल से उसको indexation benefit. If you take the Bombay High Court judgment, we can take it from the year in which the property was actually acquired. 2001 से लेना चाहिए. लेकिन since he got the property in 2009, so indexation meter will start from here, whereas the value of the property will be considered as of 1st of April, which is 2,20,000. Since this property was bought in 1992, so we calculated what is the fair market value. It was 2,20,000 because the stamp duty was 2,20,000. So we will take 2,20,000 and multiply by, look at the bottom of the screen, 2,20,000 into 317, that the year of sale of property, the index was 317, okay, and 137, which is basically the year when Mr. D got the property. Because when the gift happened, it was 2009, okay, so it becomes 5,09,000. Then cost of improvement, it happened in 235, this thing, so again, it will be taken from the same year because the owner became D from 2008, 9, okay. Whereas in May 2008, okay, May 2008 is again the same year only, 2000, A में 8, 9 की है, तो 8, 9 का वैसे भी index 137,000. So it will be 137. So the improved cost of indexation will be 5,43,000. So put together, so the value comes to 10,52,000. So capital gain is 1,47,190. Is that okay?
So now that the High Court has given the judgment,
Yeah.
why is the change not taking place in the
I'll come to that. So just some notes are there. First we'll read that. Read the notes.
For the purpose of capital gains, holding period is considered from the date on which the house was purchased by Mr. K. However, indexation of cost of acquisition is considered from the date on which the house was gifted by Mr. K to Mr. D till the date of sale. That is from January 2009 to February 2002.
So ये तो हो गया पहला हमने जो लिया है अपना जो परचेज प्राइस है और indexation benefit also starts from there. Okay. Second,
Since house property was acquired before 1st April 2001, higher of fair market value on 1st April 2001 or actual cost of acquisition can be considered as cost of acquisition. However, fair market value cannot exceed stamp duty value.
so that's a law that the fair market value cannot exceed the stamp value. So stamp value was taken as the value. Okay. Okay. हाँ अब बताइए what was the thing?
So now that the High Court has passed the judgment, why was this change not brought into act?
If it was decided by Supreme Court, then there can be an amendment to the law, or they can make some change in the act so that the act will overrule the Supreme Court judgment. So they will make a change there. Fine. Key that this actually क्या है? We are taking the cost of acquisition to the previous owner and indexation benefit of the new owner. Okay. In the law, it is not written like that. In act, it is the cost of the previous owner that is written. But when the indexation will start, it is silent. So income tax is taking a view that the indexation benefit will start from the year when the person inherited the property or this thing. So that is the view of the income tax. Okay, fine. Whereas the court view is that it should be from the date, the indexation benefits should start right from the previous owner's year of purchase. So, एक second, so there are views only. So income tax में act में ये कहीं नहीं दिया हुआ कि indexation benefit कहाँ से शुरू हुआ. Just listen to me. So income tax will always take a view where they have mode of taxation. They earn more tax. Whereas court has decided that the year of indexation start from that year in which the property was purchased by the previous owner. So either income tax authorities have to change the law and says that year of indexation benefit will start from the day when the new owner buys it, gets the property. If they do this, then even the Supreme Court judgment, if it is passed, will get overruled. Got me? अगर Supreme Court ने कहा कि नहीं, they will suppose they uphold the Bombay judgment and they say we agree with the Bombay court. If the government doesn't want to lose, so they can make a change to the law and make an amendment that भाई अब तो amendment कर दिया, पहले तो सिर्फ views थे, तो views के basis में Supreme Court says that we concur with the view of the Bombay High Court and they pass a judgment in somebody else case. So then if the government doesn't make any change in the income tax, then people will start taking the benefit of the Bombay as well as Supreme Court case. Is it okay?
So my point is like if there is legal precedence
हाँ.
established,
Yeah.
then shouldn't the acts be automatically changed?
नहीं, एक्ट में तो दिया ही नहीं हुआ. अब suppose the case it happens with me. I'll take the benefit of the Bombay High Court.
So there was dichotomy or there was a gap in between which was exploited by the IT authorities in one direction and which the High Court said
Absolutely, you're right.
not
Yeah.
exploited in that
Because there is nothing mentioned in the income tax.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now that they have made it as a legal ruling on a particular case, that should become the precedent for all cases thereafter.
See, actually क्या होता है, if it is a Bombay High Court, but Bombay High Court judgments are not, applicable to whole of India. It is applicable only to the Maharashtra jurisdiction.
But it can be quoted by by lawyer in another state also.
हाँ, they can quote it if it is not challenged. I can take the benefit of the Bombay High Court and file my return. Okay. If the income tax authorities can even ignore it, if they don't want, they say नहीं ऐसा कैसे सोचता है, it is only applicable to Bombay High Court. So suppose the case is so large, it's involving crores of rupees, so they will issue a notice to me. Our view says that the tax has to be paid from the indexation benefit starts when you become the owner and not from the day the previous owner became the owner. Okay, so you pay tax on it. Absolutely. Yeah. सर वो उनको वो दीजिए फोन, इन्हीं के लिए लाया हूं मैं, आप ही के लिए लाया हूं सर. वो एक सेकंड. नो सर, आप प्लीज, आपकी आवाज मुझे नहीं आती, आपका क्वेश्चन फिर आप पूछते रहते हो, मैं आपसे 4 बार पूछता हूँ, फिर ये सिर्फ आपके लिए लाया हूं. आई कम टू टीच यू एंड विपुल. आप नहीं थे तो आई वाज थिंकिंग कि जब अब आओगे तो मतलब आई वाज जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर यू, बट आई यू केम. थैंक्स. हाँ.
So on these.
No issue. That's I mean, you had a work.
I gifted a property to my son. Gift. My son sold that property. I got the index from the bill I gifted. No, my son had paid the index from the bill I gifted. Then I got the index.
So you took the benefit of the judgment basically.
So as I'm talking to law, so
हाँ.
Maharashtra court judgment was valid in law.
नो सर, वो आपने तो उसको वैलिड कर दिया, आपने फाइल कर दी and the assessment happened and you didn't have to, I mean they never called you. They would have taken a view that this is the judgment of Bombay High Court and this is not valued I mean valid in Haryana. They would have given a notice. You never got the notice. Okay. And even suppose they would have given a notice to you and you would have cited Bombay High Court judgment. Now it was the prerogative of the commissioner whether he accepts the Mumbai High Court judgment or he goes against it. He says that we will go against it, you have to pay deposit, and then you go to the High Court. It's not like, that it is applicable as such.
Sir, I was kind of bring out the same thing, sir. आपने जैसे बोला कि 5000 केसेस में से एक आपका केस पकड़ा गया,
हाँ.
इसमें उसको बेनिफिट नहीं मिला.
हाँ.
सर ने ऑलरेडी वो केस को
हाँ.
करके दिया. It's purely because why this does not become a law by Supreme Court is because of the pendency of the cases that Supreme
Absolutely.
Court has in crores.
Crores.
That every judgment cannot become a law.
Yeah.
So there is a rule or there is an understanding that you can quote different state courts judgments.
Absolutely.
And you can get benefits.
Definitely.
Unless you are challenged, if you are challenged, then you
No,
can also
Supreme
recover.
Court would have decided based on the Bombay High Court judgment. Somebody would have argued and says कि Bombay में हुआ था, and they were, because Income Tax Act is silent from the date, or as far as the date of indexation benefit is concerned. They are not mentioned in the law कि indexation benefit तब से चालू होगा जब से वो खरीदे, जब उसके पास प्रॉपर्टी आई है. ये तो दिया ही नहीं हुआ इनकम. Nowhere in income tax it is written that the indexation benefit will start from this thing. So it is up to you. But government, the income tax authorities believe that the indexation benefit starts from the date when the new property owner, the person who got under will or gift, when he gets the property, the indexation starts from that period. That is income tax view. Now you have challenged that, you have filed a return, and you have got the benefit by quoting, the judgment of.
No, you are absolutely correct. I spoke to my master before filing it.
Yeah.
In case of a transfer deed, it was same thing. You should give deed from father to a son, you can be indexing back to father.
Yeah. नहीं, will और gift में दोनों में एक ही रूल है. There is no different rule. That is your only understanding. Because you thought कि गिफ्ट में विल में होती तो मुझे फिर वहां से लेना पड़ता, और गिफ्ट में मैं तब से लूंगा जब मैंने अपने बेटे को दे दी. वो जो है इंडेक्सेशन विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम व्हेन आई गिफ्टेड फ्रॉम दैट. यू टुक दैट. ओके. फॉर गिफ्ट एंड विल द रूल इज सेम. ओके, फाइन. ओके सर, अभी कितने बजे तक क्लास है हमारी? हो गया. तो लेट्स हैव अ ब्रेक नाउ. ओके, सो एक सेकेंड, अब क्या बचा है? ओके, जस्ट कपल ऑफ थिंग्स. ओके, बिकॉज अभी खत्म हो गया हमारा सारा. सो एक दो चीजें हो रहा है. सपोज इट हैपन्स दैट यू हैव टेकन समथिंग कॉल्ड बयाना, टोकन मनी. ओके, you have taken a token money, and the deal doesn't go through, and the token money is forfeited by you. आपको टोकन मनी दिया, आपने प्रॉपर्टी किसी को बेच दी, और the other person was not able to carry forward the deal and he never paid you the money. The token money becomes yours. Okay, fine. I suppose as per your understanding, he may ask for you. You can give it back to the guy depending upon what kind of terms and conditions. But normally 90% you say, I'm going to forfeit the token money. Now, if that money is forfeited, if it happens before 2014 and it happens after 2014, now of course the current one is more important क्योंकि 2014 को हुए अभी 10 साल से ऊपर हो गए. बट अगर ये 2014 से पहले हुआ होता तो द मनी विच यू गॉट forfeited money, you don't have to pay any tax on it. Okay, till you sell the property, and from that when you sell the property, your cost of acquisition will be adjusted for the token money. उतनी कम हो जाएगी आपकी. सपोज आपने 50 लाख की प्रॉपर्टी बेची और आपने 20 लाख में एक्वायर करी थी, और आपको 2 लाख रुपए टोकन मनी मिला हुआ उस प्रॉपर्टी का, और जो कि आपका बन गया, तो आपकी कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन बिकम 18 lakhs. सो दैट मींस योर कैपिटल गेन विल बी से 20, rest of the 50 minus 18, जो भी फिगर है 32 lakhs. Yeah, fine. So this is prior to 2014. But now if it happens after 2014, so if you got a token money or advance, okay, and that the deal could never go through, so whatever money which you have got, it will be taxed in the previous year as income from other sources.
So the understanding is that the money is not given back.
हाँ, वो तो आपका है, गिवन बैक है, दैट इज योर थिंग. सो आई एम नॉट एक्सप्लेनिंग दैट गिवन बैक, वो तो बिटवीन यू एंड द जैसे दो आदमियों में डील हुई है वो.
Various clauses, months and as per High Court orders also, how many months later it gets forfeited. Basically, you follow the process.
Okay, so just read, if the advance was received and forfeited on or after 2000, advance forfeited to be taxed under 56 section as income from other sources. Tax liabilities attracted in the year of forfeiture, whereas first वाले केस में taxability is postponed to the year of actual transfer of the capital asset before 2014. Okay, is that okay? Let's see if there is something. हाँ, ये बड़ा important है, इसको कर लेते हैं. Okay, just read sir, this is the last one. Okay,
जनरली जो बयाना लेते हैं ना, वो एग्रीमेंट टू सेल बनने से पहले एक और एक छोटा सा signing
हाँ,
होगा.
नहीं वो एग्रीमेंट टू सेल होता है ना, जब हो जाता है.
तो फिर भी आप नोटिस के
अच्छा, इसको हम अभी डिस्कस करते हैं, आपसे रिव्यू करते हैं. वो एग्रीमेंट टू सेल में ही होता है, बट विल कम टू दैट. जस्ट रीड दिस. दिस इज द लास्ट थिंग एंड विच विल कंप्लीट द फर्स्ट पोर्शन, इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. या
When an SSC with taxability where stamp duty value higher than sale consideration. When an SSC receives or claims to receive a sale consideration from sale of land and such sale consideration is less than the value adopted, that is the stamp duty value, circle rate, etc., by the stamp valuation authority. If the sale consideration declared by the assessee, that is the seller, is less than the stamp duty value, then the stamp duty value shall become deemed sale consideration for the purpose of calculating capital gain tax.
So, इसमें जो stamp duty value है, that will become the final. If suppose you are declaring a lower value and stamp duty says ये तो property 1 करोड़ की है और आपने सिर्फ 80 लाख रुपए में डील होगी आपकी, तो they'll say that 1 करोड़ will become for the calculation point from the income tax purposes for paying the capital gain. Even for stamp duty you have to pay 1 crore. For income tax also, you are supposed to pay tax on 1 crore, which is a stamp duty value, and not the value which actually happened in the deal. हाँ, तो अभी आ रहे हैं, उसमें आते हैं. तो normally, people try to bring down the value of the property and they want to pay less stamp duty as well as less income tax. So less stamp duty, that is taken care by the circle rates, and less income tax, that is taken care by this law, that you have to pay income tax as well as stamp duty as per the stamp duty. हाँ, तो दोनों गवर्नमेंट ने खत्म कर लिए. Now, if the stamp duty value does not exceed 10% of the sale consideration, then such sale consideration shall be sale value for computing this thing. Agar suppose you say that I have purchased this property of 1 crore and stamp duty says 1 crore 10 lakhs, because the stamp duty value is only one value. Okay, the properties may differ from place to place within the same locality. Suppose it is west facing hai, ya matlab it is near to a koodadan or something, the property may be less. Okay, so the stamp duty value is telling the uniform value. Okay, suppose they have just revised the stamp duty value and they have kept some value and some property has been sold below, so it will be acceptable. Only 10% variable is allowed. अगर 10% से नीचे आती है वैल्यू और आप 1 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी एज पर स्टैम्प वैल्यू एंड सोल्ड इट फॉर 90, then 90 lakhs will be considered for paying income tax. Okay, fine. So this is the exception. So अब एक एग्जाम्पल भी है, वो बाद में देखते हैं.
मतलब 10% नीचे तक आप जा सकते हैं, उससे ज्यादा
नहीं जा सकते हैं. ओके, तो अब जैसे ये देख लेते हैं, एक सेकेंड. प्रॉपर्टी ए, स्टैम्प वैल्यू 1,90,000, कंसिडरेशन 1 lakh. So value to be taken for the purpose of income tax 1 lakh. Okay, if it is stamp value is 1,70,000, then 1,70,000. Property C 1,10,000, then 1 lakh. Property D 1,10,500. So is this clear? Just go through this. अब स्टैम्प वैल्यू दी हुई है और सेल कंसिडरेशन दी हुई है और वैल्यू फॉर इनकम टैक्स पर्पसेस दी हुई है. ओके, सो स्टैम्प, हाँ, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी एक कितनी है? 1,09,000 जो भी वैल्यू. 1 लाख है, 1 करोड़ है? 1,09,000 है ना. ओके, 10 लाख है यार. अच्छा ठीक है. ओके, फाइन. सो वट एवर वैल्यू, इज दैट ओके? ओके, सो नाउ वी ब्रेक फॉर, अभी क्या टी ब्रेक है? हाँ चलो. हाँ जी सर, हाँ डाल दीजिए. आपने जाना है? हाँ ठीक है, श्योर श्योर श्योर.